Like so fat, coming, orbit.
Make them tap out. Make them quit. Make them wish they never would have traveled to Knoxville.
Right now it's decibel gaming. It's unbelievably loud in this stadium. It's loud, it's raucous here. This is one of these situations where you can have some miscommunication. 102,000 bearing down on two true freshmen. Play clock's at 0. That's going to be delay of game and getting off. That's 5 yards for the Neyland Stadium. 102,000.
Good evening. It is Thursday night, 8:30 approximately. VOLS win, and I am happy.
Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's edition of the Very Orange live stream. I am your co-host, the Super Genius Wiley, coming from you from 1998 Championship Drive here in Knoxville, Tennessee. And in the box to my left is my co-host,
Young Brandon. Take those gator mouths and shove them up your ass.
Well, it wasn't pretty, but it was effective. We got it done. We didn't look the smoothest doing it. Dylan Sampson was his reliable self, scoring his, 13th, 14th, and 15th rushing touchdowns of the season, the most of any back in the SEC since 1992 up until this point in the season. So that says a lot right there for that young man. He is performing at a very high level. In other words, he is saving that ass. Defense stepped up when they had to. Jermod McCoy had a good game. We got to expect a whole lot of out of him this coming Saturday up against the Mobile Monster, Ryan Williams from Bama.
Out for the rest of the season.
Kenny Pili is out for the rest of the season. The kid's just.
But we're deep.
We are deep. We do have the next man up mentality, but the kid's just, he can't catch a break. This is the second or third knee injury that he's had since the college football. So his Tennessee career, unfortunately, is done. Hopefully he'll get a chance to play on Sunday. He'll recover. He'll get better. He'll move on. Fingers crossed. And we shall see what we shall see. James Pierce showed up in a big way, causing that fumble in the goal to go situation for Florida. I feel bad for Graham Mertz blowing out his knee.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Leaving the game. It's one of those things. It's the turf monster injury. I mean, the Neyland turf claims another opposing player, which has unfortunately been a theme of the past few years. Ask No Sean Marino about that sometime.
Let's get that out of the way because
Yeah.
I'm never, ever, ever going to root for one of these kids to get hurt out there.
Oh no, ever.
Just it should be beneath most people. Unfortunately, there are people that root for that sort of thing, and I ain't got any time for them. I ain't got any use for them.
If I'm going to win, I want to beat you when you're at full strength.
Right.
I mean, that's that. I want you to come proper to get that ass whooped.
Yeah.
So I mean, and Florida fought for a long time. They couldn't get out of the way of their coaching staff's inability to make play calls. You run a jet sweep on 4th and a foot. What the hell are you thinking, Billy?
That
and you bring out the swinging gate.
This is when I wish our friend Ethan was on here.
Well, I mean, you can tell the boy was trained in Tennessee Power High football because he breaks out the swinging gate for a 2-point conversion in the 4th quarter, just to see how he reacts to it, and then he brings out his kicker. You should just go for 2.
Yeah.
Go for 2.
Yeah.
You had us on the ropes, man. You literally, you would just we're like, oh, our defense let a guy get behind him, and Lagway made a great play. Guy scores.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're there. We are right for the taking. And you just puss out at the end, man. I mean, that to me is just the epitome of where Florida football is right now. I mean, we have been there, okay? Okay, we had this guy named Derek Dooley who did a lot of similar shit back, 10 years ago.
Derek the Nightmare Dooley.
Oh my God. So I mean, we feel your pain. We know where you're at.
Yeah,
you're sure we are sure as shit enjoying it, but we know where you're at.
You're in a place that is notoriously difficult to play in when you're the road team. And they weren't great against us, but hell, they scored.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, you puss out and you go for 1 there. Man, you're not living or dying by the sword. You're fucking around with a wooden knife.
I mean,
that you carved yourself, and it's dull.
It's as thin as a toothpick.
Yeah.
I mean, whittled down to nothing.
The knife, that is.
So the people who are still calling for Billy Napier's head are justified. I mean,
absolutely.
I don't know that Mullen wins that game. I don't know, but Meyer wins that game in that situation.
Yeah.
Spurrier wins that game in that situation. I mean, it was there. It was there. It was just I don't know if it's confidence you play, calling confidence in your players or what. It's bad coaching decisions on the field. At the wrong time. 12 players on the field when you're trying to kick a field goal. I mean, and you've got your special teams jump to conclusion, Matt, on the sideline, and you still can't get it right. My God, what does that say about? I mean, it's the Peter principle in action. Of course, do you know what the Peter principle is, my psychologist brother?
I'll tell you what it is.
Exactly. It's Schadenfreude. So
I'm taking great delight in this.
It was fun to watch. And I remember when that penalty came out, I'm like, oh my God, that's going to run out the clock on them. They're not going to be able to kick. It's going to run the clock on them. And I'm just laughing. I mean,
Oh,
it could not get any worse. And the thing about it was, I laughed at halftime because Dan Mullen is in the studio for halftime. He goes, "Oh yeah, I think Tennessee is going to come back in this one." The subtext of which was, "Yeah, Napier's going to figure out a way to fuck this one up too."
yeah.
I mean that's essentially. I mean that's what he
exactly.
wanted to say.
Yeah.
That's what he wanted to say, but he couldn't. Man, smart enough. I got to keep the job I have. The job I have now.
This guy's out here eating more shit than a dozen flies.
I just. I don't get it. I mean, our own play calling is bizarre enough in some circumstances, but that was just egregiously inept. Is probably the best pair of adjectives I can come up with.
Like
or
high school
descriptors
level.
I can come up with. Hell, I know high school. I know high school coaches. I know high school lower high school coaches that want to fuck that up.
Yeah,
seriously. Fire drill. Get out there. Count the guys on the holder counts the guys on the field. That's what that holder has two jobs. Make sure you got your personnel out there, and make sure your laces forward there, son.
Maybe he can't count to 12.
I don't know. Well, and this week they got Kentucky. He loses this one. He's fired. He'll be fired for the Georgia game. If they
really did hope that he would lose his job after losing to us in the nail biter.
No, they'll he'll coach this week. But if he loses this week, I would be amazed that if he made it to the Georgia game.
The largest outdoor cocktail party it used to be called.
Yeah.
Apparently we don't say that anymore. All right, so
because drinking's bad, okay?
Drinking is bad.
Anywho,
unless you can hit that sweet spot where you drink just enough.
Mm-hmm. See, that's why I always objected to selling alcohol at SEC stadiums. It completely defeats the purpose of tailgating. The whole point of tailgating is to get smashed before you go into the stadium and let the game sober you up.
Right.
That was always my game plan. Get hammered, eat some good grub, stagger into the stadium, sit there, and progressively sober up. The more pissed you get at play on the field,
right?
And it worked like a charm every single time.
It does.
But since I don't drink anymore, since I don't drink anymore, it's a moot point.
I don't want to spend an hour in line for a beer while the football game is going on.
No. If they still allowed vendors to come into the crowd, be a different story.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't either. I just, it defeats the entire, call me a traditionalist, I guess.
Yeah, right. So with the laughably bad team, we also had our team on the field.
Well, Nico still can't figure out how to work the mesh point. Found that out in the first quarter.
This is where I'm going. Not just what do we need to do, but I'll pinpoint it. Who's more afraid? Josh Heupel or Nico?
Well, this kind of eerily mirrors a lot of what Peyton was going through back in '94 when he first started. Okay. Todd, who am I thinking? Jerry Colquitt goes down against UCLA. First season, blows out his knee. Poor guy. Had waited for 3 years behind Heath Schiller, was a good backup. Local Knoxville guy. And was there to have a breakout season to be the heir apparent. Was gonna be could have been the T. Martin of his era. Anyway, blows out his knee. So your next two options are
Big Bad Todd.
Or Peyton and Todd Allen. Well, Peyton went in first in that game.
Yeah.
They burned Peyton's red shirt the next series. So they then Helton got in, Helton came in, settled things out, and played the next few games, beat Georgia on the road. But everybody realized, Fulmer realized that, hey, I know that your future is not in football. If you want to step, we got this kid coming up. If you want to step inside and protect yourself from football, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
And that's basically what happened. Helton would have, if Helton had sat and stepped aside, he probably would have finished out the season as a starter.
Yeah.
But he stepped back, made way for Peyton. And Peyton struggled. There were a lot of interceptions this freshman year. I mean, really, really, really struggled as a starting quarterback. And he had this kid behind him named Brandon Stewart, who, when he would come in, the offense seemed to move a little bit better, move a little bit faster. And there was this big controversy over, at the time, who should start, Peyton or Brandon. And in fact, I remember one time on ball calls, because we were so frustrated with the lack of offense, a guy called in and said, well, Coach, which quarterback do you think you're going to be going with for the future? And he goes, well, I think we're going to go with Peyton. I think Peyton has a better grasp of the offense right now and is, a little bit further along in his development. And the guy literally said, okay, Coach, just one other question. Which of the 3 plays that you're running right now does Brandon not know? I mean, literally, I was like, we're dying. It's funny, but it was true because we were struggling to do anything on offense. But I see a lot of that here. Did Peyton eventually come into his own and get it right? Yeah. Was he successful as we'd hoped he would be? No, but the guy still doesn't mean the guy's any less of a legend. It was the next guy that got us over the hump, and that's fine. We love T2, but Peyton had his struggles, and it took Peyton that most of that season to get his groove. I mean, so just to figure stuff out. I mean, there are not many freshmen that can walk in and do and make it run from the very beginning. I mean, for every Tua Tagovailoa out there, there are 1,000 Tate Martells.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of his name. There are 1,000 Tate Martells out there who just who aren't ever able to get it done.
Yeah.
So, I think we're definitely more on the Tua side of that equation than we are anything else. He's going to get there. I have faith that he's going to get there. He's not there now, but if he don't step it up this week, he's going to get his string knocked loose in a big time way.
Yeah.
It's not going to be pretty to watch.
So, with all that being said, I've heard this criticism, and I think it's pretty fair, and why we look so
one-dimensional.
Just one-dimensional, and he's really not throwing anything past 15 yards.
Yeah, and
he will every once in a blue moon.
I think we're in a situation where, and just because the receivers we have hurt, we're going to have to run two tight end sets. We're going to have to. You're going to have to go something, if not all full max protect, something close to it. Keep a tight end back there, extra blocker. You know, keep Holden stays in the backfield, or keep Kitselman in the block, and then use the other one as a receiver. We have not used the damn tight end in weeks.
No, we have not.
And that's got to be a huge part of the game plan.
That's a crime too, because
we've got Kitselman's a good tight end. Holden Stays the good tight end. Holden Stays came to Tennessee for a reason. We got to use him.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no point in wasting that scholarship if you're not going to get the most out of that kid that you can. Seriously, I don't know. In that way, I don't know what they're waiting for, and they may be afraid that outside of just the interior of the line, they're not getting the protection they want. I mean, so you've got, and they're still saying that Lance Hurd is probable for Saturday. I don't know that I don't put Dane Davis in there and try your luck with Dane Davis, because Lance sure shit ain't been getting the job done since he's been back in the lineup. Yeah. He, you know, I'm trying to think of how many sacks we gave up that we gave up, you know, last week. Let me look that up while I'm thinking about it. Talk, Brandon.
What was it? It was like, what did they get against us? 5 or 6, something like that.
That's what I'm looking at. Hold on.
But these were some of the numbers of our main offensive weapons, and you know, some people that I know that we might chat with every single day decided to bring up Nico's stats versus who are they comparing him to?
Mm-hmm.
Mertz, I believe.
No, they were comparing him to Peyton Thorne.
Yeah, Peyton. Hey, you're right.
Yeah,
kid from Auburn. But if you really get to looking at it, when you talk about Peyton,
they sacked him 3 times, which is not terrible, but not great either.
No, where that might have been against Arkansas, where he got sacked 5 times.
Yeah, I think Arkansas did get him 5 times,
something like that. But 12-19, you know, it's not lighting the world on fire. But it's not, I mean, terrible.
Well,
we got Sampson, and if we can get Sampson going,
yep.
I think we can open up that passing game. But we, like you're saying about these tight ends, if we could just get
play action, drag route, get something, and the thing we have to take advantage of in this game, Bama's defense has been hot garbage on 3rd down. They have been god awful on 3rd down.
Yeah,
especially these last 2 games against Carolina and Vanderbilt. So if you know, we've got to be able to extend those drives. Look, I'm fine with getting 2-3 yards on 1st down. It's forward movement. It pushes the defense in the right direction. I don't necessarily mind that. It's when I mind when, you know, you're getting 1 yard and you're getting 1 yard and incomplete pass and trying to do it again on 3rd down. You get yourself, and you're putting that much more pressure on yourself to be able to get those runs. I want to see one of those, you know, pin and pulls that we ran against Georgia last year, that we scored the touchdown in the opening play. We haven't seen that play yet.
Well, and I will say this. On a few of those drives, especially at the end of the game, of the Florida game, they need to just replicate whatever they were doing, because they moved the ball fine against them.
But one of the bigger issues is they were up against a tired D line. We had worn them out.
Well, that's also
they were gassed. I mean, and there's an advantage
But the first series,
if you can do that, but
fucking ball.
Yeah, but it
was also
yeah.
I mean,
we were actually, that first drive was promising until that. I mean, but it's like, I don't know if you remember this, but when Homer Simpson became a professional boxer, he would just sit there and take the punches until the other guy got worn out. Until he came up against Dredrick Tatum, and Dredrick Tatum wasn't going to get tired. Eventually, you're going to run up against teams that aren't going to get tired. You can't just keep wailing and wait, or taking punches and let them push on you and things like that. They're not going to wear out. Bama is not typically one of those teams that gets tired. Georgia is not one of those teams that gets tired. You have got to produce.
Yeah.
I mean, I go back, I go back to,
By the way, anything mentioned relating to the Simpsons, yes, I'm going to know exactly 1,000% what you're talking about.
I go back that Hank Schramm, matriculate the ball down the field, boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I always say, matriculate, move it.
When we got to play, that O-line's got to step up.
Yeah.
And be able to move some people around.
Hank Schramm, not Hank Schramm. Yeah. Yep.
Anywho, should we talk Bama?
Oh God, if we must.
Yeah, why not?
You don't have any Drano I can drink, do you? Yeah. This is an interesting Bama team to be catching right now. I mean, I think there's
this is winnable.
Yes, this is more gettable than I think we realize. I mean, Bama's sitting. I mean, we'll get the picks later, but Bama's sitting at 3 points, at 3-point favorite. So started that at 1.5. It's gone to 3, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm all over that. I'm all over that.
Yeah,
I'm all over that. I think they're gettable. I mean, if we can just figure out ways to frustrate them. They don't have there's the discipline's gone. They don't have the emotional maturity of the staff that they had. I mean, somebody listening to Sports Talk here in Knoxville throughout the week, somebody made a really good point that one of the things you hear from the talking heads is the other guys making comments about guys' old teams because they don't want to sound like the cranky old guy who ain't there anymore, which is why Herbstreit was saying all the stuff about how undisciplined Alabama was instead of Nick Saban. And it's a good point. It's a good point. I guarantee you all of that stuff in prep meetings was brought up by Nick Saban, but he couldn't be the one that was saying it.
Hell no.
I mean, you want to destroy the credibility of the guy who replaced you, you be the one bitching about it.
Yeah.
And correctly. I mean, Malachi Moore, Nick Saban would have drugged Malachi Moore off that field by his damn face mask at the end of that Vandy game. He'd been lucky to see the field against South Carolina if he pulled that crap with Saban. It wouldn't happen. I mean, and so they have got to figure out how they're going to do this, because if they face some adversity next week and they get frustrated, it's going to snowball, and that snowball is going to turn into an avalanche, and they're going to get run off the damn field.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I'm hoping is going to happen. I mean, we've got to be. Our defensive backfield played well last week. We did give the scores we did give up were touchdown passes. We're doing better. I think McCoy is going to be exclusively covering Ryan Williams all game, best on best, which I'm a lot more comfortable with now than I would have been in the past.
Yeah,
I'm a lot. Yeah, so I've got a lot of confidence that we can cover him. He has not played well. I think he's only gone for 114 yards combined the last 2 weeks. So I think that's going to be a big thing. Pass rush wise, James Pierce is heating up. He had a hell of a ball game on last Saturday.
Yes, he did.
He really did. He showed. He
lights out.
He finally showed up. You know, in ways that were more tangible. He had not been playing badly by any stretch of the imagination. He just hadn't been getting. You know, he hadn't been getting all the star-making hits. He had been causing a lot of issues, and the other guys were getting the stats. But last week he did it, and he's got to keep pushing the limit. He's got to keep going. We need him now more than ever this week. You know, this is a must-win game for both teams if you want to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
Whoever loses this one's probably odd man out. Probably going to be in team number 13. If I'm being honest, because you're going to have a service academy team in the playoffs. One of those two, Army Navy, one of those two teams is going to go undefeated. You still don't know what's going to happen in the Big Ten. A one loss. If Indiana gets past Michigan, a one loss Indiana team might get in.
They might.
They might be able to pull it off. I mean,
I believe they play Nebraska this.
Everybody's talking about bowl possibilities if we don't get into the playoffs, and one of those bowl possibilities is Indiana. I don't want to play Indiana. Kurt Cignetti is a damn good coach. Everybody is sleeping on the dude.
Yeah,
he is really good. I mean, that's the guy. That's the guy Florida should be looking at if they want to replace Napier. I wouldn't overpay for Kiffin. I mean, the only reason why Cignetti is not getting more of a look is because he's 63 years old, which I think is bollocks.
Yeah,
the man still got coaching in him. Milk all he's got.
Yeah,
because all he does is win.
They said the same thing about Mr. DeBoer.
Yep.
I don't know. You think it's the SEC that got to him?
That and the pressure of the situation he moved into. Things like that.
Oh, also, he said that, he coached at Washington up there, and he had been around a lot of noise.
Yep. That ain't noise. Foghorns off Puget Sound. That's probably what he heard.
Yeah.
That ain't noise. Jeez.
No. In for a rude awakening, I think.
I mean, that's usually what happens. I mean, they're not ready for it. So few people are truly up to the experience.
All right, so just put a nice, neat little bow on this package. What do we have to do to beat Bama?
We keep up what we're doing on defense. Generating pass rush, generating chaos, stopping the run. I mean, honestly, Alabama has not been doing what they need to do to essentially be the Alabama of old. I mean, that's basically it in a nutshell. I mean,
yeah,
Bama's top rusher right now is Jam Miller. Jam Miller's got 360 yards. He's not exactly setting the world on fire. Milroe's our second leading rusher. He's the biggest issue with Jam Miller. He gets about 7 yards a clip when he runs the ball properly. But I don't think he's faced a D line like what we have so far. Even Georgia's. They haven't faced a team like us. If they do get into the red zone, our red zone defense honestly has been good since Tim Banks has been at Tennessee. I mean, honestly, it's historically it's been hard to score on us.
That's true. Even when we didn't,
it's when we give up. It's the big plays that we give up that cause issues.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think, like we touched on before, they're undisciplined, and I think that particular issue, a fish rots from the head down.
Exactly.
And I think he's going to have to get that figured out. If not this season, certainly by the spring and going into next season.
I mean, he could have if they they lose this one and they don't make the playoffs. I mean, you could be looking at a full-on Brian Harsin style revolt. Now, I don't think that. Now, granted, I don't think that. That DeBoer anywhere personality wise is Brian Harsin. I think.
Oh no.
I think Harsin was just the wrong personality for that job. He rubbed people the wrong way, got in there and just generally shat the bed. I think DeBoer's done a good job integrating himself into that community and has been accepted more readily. But at the same time, I mean, they've gotten so used to just success after success after success. I mean, the program's had two of the greatest coaches in college football history. Yeah. So they're spoiled. I mean, they really are. I mean, I don't see how they could how could they not be? So losing 2 or 3 games is going to be, at this point for them, is going to be unacceptable.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I think it's going to be a tough road to hoe.
I mean, it was going to be a monumental job, whoever got it.
Oh yeah.
So I mean,
yeah,
guys,
which they once talked about, even if he would have taken over.
Bill O'Brien, I thought would be, if Bill O'Brien would have been more likely than Kiffin. And Bill O'Brien, excuse me, is a damn fine coach. He really is. I mean, he's there,
though.
Yeah, they do. They do.
That would have been a revolt in the streets.
Well, that'd have been a nuclear Greg Schiano situation.
Yeah.
But the guy's a good coach. I mean, you can't deny that fact.
No, I've always liked him. I mean, he ain't never been our coach.
Nope.
But I always thought he did a decent job. What do you think? Last kind of Alabama point, and we'll get this train to moving down the tracks a little faster. I would think about 3 years, maybe 4, before, like here at Tennessee, Heupel, this is really the first year where he's got his people in there, what he wants his team to look like, so on and so forth.
And when the classes he's building going forward, it's only going to get better. I mean,
oh yeah,
DeBoer's they've got to give DeBoer room to be able to put his own mark on that team. I mean, so that's where the realistic side is out. And the problem is like I said, they're so used to success. Their idea of reality is warped.
Little bit of growing pain.
It's skewed in a big way.
Yeah. But my question was this: do you think once he gets his program and his people in place down there, does it look more like what used to be a Pac-12 team, or does he try to make it in the image of an SEC team?
See, I don't buy into the premise of the question, honestly, and here's why. Regardless of the conference, it's got to be that coach's team. Yeah. He's gonna make it what it is for him based on his philosophy. Pac-12, SEC, it doesn't matter. He's got to make it work regardless.
Yeah.
So one way or the other, he's probably got 3 years. And if he doesn't get done in 3 years, they're not going to extend it. They're not going to extend him. They're going to dump
well,
him.
See, the way I think about it, and what that SEC brand of football to me is, the largest massive people you can get on the offensive line, so you can run that football. And more of an athletic kind of O-line for the Pac-12. That way they can pass block and
I think
that sort of thing.
Well, it just depends. Offensive linemen are getting bigger. They're getting more agile. They're getting faster. So I think you're going to be getting bigger guys anyway. That's not going to matter. Tom Osborne ruled the football world for 20 years with linemen that averaged. Sometimes the biggest lineman he had was 270. Because they had to be able to get on the perimeter, get on the edge, and run block. They had to be able to pull. They had to be able to move. They had to be able to get on those second level guys to make room for your fullback, for your wing back, whatever. So it's it's the game changing, obviously. But there's some things that just are gonna stay the same because it's. The players are evolving right around it.
Yeah.
If you're going to pass, you don't have to be. You want the bigger guys to be able to pass block. Now most linemen, at least of my generation, will tell you they want to run the ball.
Yeah.
Because they want to get out there, they want to pull, they want to get on the perimeter, they want to get the linebackers and murder somebody.
Grind it.
They want to get out there and knock the piss out of somebody.
Yeah.
It's a lot more fun than standing there trying to chop your feet and working your hands, trying to keep a pocket for your quarterback to operate out of. So, I don't see. I see some things that are coming full circle. The veer and shoot. You're going back to it's a big circle. It's coming back to a run. It's a run first offense. It is.
Yeah.
People's like Heupel's offense is what? Well, yeah. He used the hashes. He spreads the defenses out. But his first objective is to move that ball forward, and the way he does it is he runs it. He runs the ball to be able to pass the ball, and that is a classic football strategy.
Old school.
Everybody did it. You run the ball to get them, to come to the line. When they come to the line, you throw the ball, you put the ball over their head, and you mix it up.
Right.
Keep them off balance. None of that has changed. And I ever seeing it change.
Which is one thing that does bother me when our running game doesn't work. That both can be used, in cooperation. That if they think you're going to pass, you can also run it.
Yeah.
If you pass. You know, you got to get these defenses broken up somehow where you can get that ball through there.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. My favorite offense is the triple option. Triple option, when it's run well, nobody, only the quarterback knows where only the quarterback knows where the ball is going to go. Really.
Yeah.
And the blocking is pretty much the same. The blocking is pretty much based on the set.
Yeah.
Whatever set's called, you block that, you block down, you pull, you do whatever. It's pretty much the same. Yeah, and then the quarterback distributes the ball. The quarterback distributes the ball. Half the time, the linemen don't know where the hell the ball is. As long as they do, as long as they do their job, they ain't got to worry about it. I mean, Paul Johnson had a coaching career out of it. Tom Osborne, Bill Snyder, Barry Switzer, all those guys.
Yeah.
Darryl Royal, all those guys, all those wishbone guys. It's the same thing.
Me, on the other hand, I've always been partial to West Coast offense.
I mean, yeah, and which is still,
it's kind of
it's foundationally a running offense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's based on play action.
Right.
It's at least based on the illusion of running the ball. So,
yeah. All right. So let's back her up a little bit for our friends that might not even like football that might watch this or be watching this. Let's talk a little bit about some other sports, including the impending World Series.
Did you enjoy as much as I did what the Dodgers did to the Mets last night? I got a perverse still. I had all these people saying to me, "Take the money line. The Mets are going to win. Walker Buehler sucks away from home, and they're not going to win it." Well, Walker Buehler managed to strike out 6 in 4 innings, and they went to their bullpen, and the Mets did dick last night. And I was extremely pleased like that. That series is over. I mean, the Mets can win the other 2 games at home. They're not winning 2 in a row. Even if they pull that out, they're not winning 2 in a row in LA. No. I think that series is over. They're not going to Shohei and Freddie's place and winning 2 in a row. I think it's Yankees Dodgers classic Yankee Dodger series, and we're going to see what we see. It should be Shohei against Judge, and whoever gets theirs.
Oh, I got to root for the Dodgers, I guess, in that scenario.
Yeah, got to root for Fred.
Yeah. But yeah,
kind of like when
the Subway Series, and I'm like, that ain't gonna happen.
So it's kind of like 2001 series. It was hard to root against the Yankees that year for obvious reasons. It was, but at the same time, I rooted really hard for one player in the entire series, and that was Mark Grace, because Mark Grace spent a lot of years, made postseason one time in '89, but he spent a lot of years on some really shitty Chicago Cubs teams. Mm-hmm. And if he went to Arizona and he made the World Series, the one World Series he played in, they won. So I was really, really happy that he got his ring. I mean, so
before I ever even liked the Braves, I liked the Cubs as a kid, and I always liked Ryan Sandberg, mm-hmm. and Mark Grace, Andre Dawson, Shawan Dunston, who was later, he's like the rookie back then.
Yep. Absolute cannon for an arm.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I like maybe my top. Ryan Sandberg's probably my top 3 of all time baseball players. And I also was happy when Mark Grace won the World Series. Was on a World Series winning team, I should say. But yeah, I think the Yankees this year are pretty damn. I know they started playing a game earlier. The Guardians and the Yankees.
Last time I checked, it was 4-3 Yankees. Now actually, it's over. Cleveland wins 7-5.
Oh wow!
Yep.
Which I wouldn't mind rooting for Cleveland, but I don't think they're going to make it.
Nope. Yep.
I just don't. But yeah, that was my thought. Dodgers Yankees World Series is what it's going to come down to. Moving on.
Yep.
So we had some major moves in the NFL. Well, one really major move. The other one, kind of, see what. Devontae Adams going from the Raiders to the Jets.
And he wants, and he wants out. There are things that are going to be, they're going to happen. Just events that happen. Aiden Hutchinson, man, what do you say about that? I mean, that's just catastrophically bad injury for a really, really, really good player, because the Lions were making a play to be the best team in the league, and I really, really believe that. So they're going to have to. The Lions are going to have to figure out what to do with how they're going to fill that hole on their D line. I can see some other players definitely going other places. I mean, Devontae Adams is obviously the big one. Whether or not it's going to make a difference, if it's going to save the Jet season, I don't know.
And there's about 3 weeks until the trade deadline, so we should see some movement.
I could see. I think Miami's going to trade for a quarterback.
Yeah, they have to. I mean,
Miami.
You know what I would do?
Ian is rumoring they're going to go after Bryce Young, and I'm like, yeah, how funny would that be? I could see the Titans making some moves.
Oh yeah.
They need picks. Whoever they're going to let go, I don't know. I mean, ESPN's predicting they get rid of DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, that experiment has not gone well. So that would be a logical move there.
D-Hop puts up some solid numbers. He put up solid numbers last year. But they're packed in the wide receiver room.
Yeah.
So
I think that's where we can free up some cap space, because I mean, the way things going right now, we're looking at a top 10 pick in the draft at the very least.
Yeah.
That game Saturday was just pathetic. It was bad. I mean, come on.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and honestly, I I get why the Colts want to go back to Richardson, but with the way Joe Flacco's playing, why would you?
I'd let the kids sit.
Yeah, I'd let him sit, let him learn. I mean, Flacco's playing really, really well. He's consistent, and that's what they need.
I'll tell you why they aren't going to do that. Well, it's the same reason that Flacco moved on from the Browns. They paid what's a clever name for him?
AR-15?
No, not.
Deshaun?
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Deshaun.
Little Diddy Deshaun.
Yeah. They're not going to pay somebody that much money and keep a Joe Flacco.
Oh, and that's why I understand what they're doing.
And because, he's like, what did he get? Like 230 million? Something like that. For
which is going to be the worst.
Oh,
contract.
It's vanilla level bad.
Yeah. Well, vanilla level bad. I always for diehard Braves fans out there, I use the Nick Esaski analogy. Nick Esaski was a high level player for the Red Sox in the late '80s, and he's from Atlanta, and he had signed to go to Atlanta in 1989, and never signed a $3 million contract to come back home to Atlanta. We're all just over the moon. Hey, we're getting Nick Esaski, the guy's going to fill that hole that Murphy left when they sent him to Philadelphia. And he never saw the field. He never got out of spring training. Poor guy got sick. He ended up getting chronic vertigo, and was just he never made it. And I always felt bad. That to me is probably, it's under the radar. The guy never played. He signed that huge contract and he never played. So that to me is the analogy I always go to. I always go to Nick Esaski.
That's a good one. But that's why they're not going to keep Flacco, or why they didn't keep Flacco in Cleveland. But also for the same reason, they don't want that kid out there, Richardson. They don't want all the fans saying Flacco, Flacco. So I don't think they're going to hold on to Flacco.
Well, and if I'm the Titans,
bing, 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 bing. Go ahead.
Why wouldn't I say, why don't we go get Joe Flacco? Why don't we talk to the Colts about getting Joe Flacco down in Nashville and letting Levis learn from him for a year?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I've espoused much worse ideas on this channel, folks.
Yeah. Because for whatever reason, dude can ball.
Yeah. He's good.
Yeah.
He's had a positive impact wherever he's gone.
Right. Speaking of the Browns, and this is the biggest question mark kind of move.
Amari Cooper?
We're talking about Amari Cooper moving to the Bills.
The Bills had to do something. I mean, they can't be throwing to Kincaid and Knox the entire season. They have to do something. They haven't had an outside threat since Stephon Diggs left.
Yeah.
They should never let so they otherwise they've got some really good tools too. I mean, Ray Davis had a hell of a ball game against the Jets the other night. He ran his ass off. So and I was really pleased. I was really pleased to see that. I thought he had a really good game. And so, you've got to have, but they don't have that deep threat, and they're relying on their their defense to keep it close. And Mike Williams, let me tell you something. Mike Williams runs the right route, and that game ends differently. I mean, folks, let me tell you something. That interception was not on Aaron Rodgers. That was on Mike Williams. Mike Williams, I think was supposed to run an out pattern and ended up running a stop and go, and he stopped, and the defensive back kept going when he saw the pass and made a hell of a play on the ball. It may have been the other way around, but it was the one way or the other. It was the wrong route.
Yeah,
that really kind of sealed the deal about going after Devontae Adams, because I can tell you something, the first guy that's going to get cut in this deal is going to be Mike Williams. He has not been getting it done, and Rodgers Rodgers is like, I got to have a guy that I can trust to do the right thing when the call is made, and I trust this guy. Get him.
Except for the fact, if I'm Devontae Adams, I don't sign a big contract with New York, a lengthy contract.
I wait to the end of the season. I wait to the end of the season.
Yeah,
because right. I mean, don't ruin a good thing. He's in a much better situation than he was in Vegas. Simply because of the fact he's got a freaking quarterback. How does Mark Davis not draft a quarterback? As talented as Brock Bowers is, how do the Raiders not draft a quarterback? Speaking of a landing spot for Joe Flacco, good God, how good would the Raiders be if they went and got Joe Flacco?
Not as good as they would have been 3 weeks ago when they had Devontae Adams.
But still.
Yeah.
I would take an upgrade to Joe Flacco over Gardner Minshew.
Oh, hell yeah. Minshew's out now. It's that other kid.
Yeah. Maybe his name I can't
I don't even know his name. But the big news out of Las Vegas is this. Tom Brady has become
part owner,
a silent owner.
Minority. He's got a minority stake.
Minority.
Yep. Yep.
But it's believed that he's going to be way more hands-on than your typical owner. So that is very. I mean,
it's going to be interesting.
Well, the negative we'll start out with is, he signed a huge contract with Fox, being a play-by-play guy.
Yep.
And all this.
And it's Aiden O'Connell is the Raiders quarterback, by the way. It's the guy that replaced Garoppolo with last year. Who ironically enough is Matthew Stafford's backup for LA. So he's little going on the Garoppolo revenge tour. The Jimmy G revenge tour.
Anyway, Brady's been blocked from going to any kind of team meetings or.
Well, he can't. He's not going to be able to broadcast any of their games. Yeah, I think that was part of the agreement.
Yeah,
he had to agree to that when he became a minority owner. That he was not.
Yeah.
And I think that's the right thing to do. I think it's totally fair.
It is. I'm just here to report, baby. But I like that idea, and I wonder if, because you know how much they love Drew Brees in New Orleans. If this opens some kind of door for former quarterbacks to get involved.
Well, doesn't Peyton have a minority stake in the Broncos?
That's what I was thinking.
I think he does. Yeah. So this is not something that's necessarily unprecedented.
No. Well, not completely, but you don't hear about, like, he really wants to be involved. Like, this guy's going to be our quarterback, and I'm going to work with him.
Yeah.
Which you can't hardly beat. You know, if I had my druthers on who was going to work with me as a quarterback, one of the best of all time.
Yeah.
It ain't going to hurt anyway. I thought it was pretty interesting. But one more point about NFL. We'll keep her moving here. Jacksonville is just a dog shit football team.
Well,
I mean, there's no two ways. They're just bad. And when are they going to pull the plug on Peterson?
They've had
You've got a
really
brand new stadium coming
Yeah.
in. You're trying to put asses in the seats everywhere. This box, that box, getting people to buy season tickets, all this stuff. And if you're sucking dick at football, that ain't gonna happen.
Well, the financial husbandry has not exactly been a strong point of the Khan family over the past 5 years, 6 years. I mean, they have been on the multiple entertainment fronts have been burning through a lot of cash. So are they going to and I just read this. Get this. I did not hear this. I'm looking at this right now on ESPN. Guess who got traded to Jacksonville?
Oh no.
Ironically enough.
Oh man.
The Mac attack is on his way to Jacksonville. Mac Jones got traded to the Jaguars.
Mac Jones.
The reports are saying that Mac Jones got traded to the Jaguars.
What team was he even on?
He was for the Patriots.
Was he still on the Patriots?
Yeah.
See, I thought he was on some XFL bullshit.
No. That was AJ McCarron.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
That was AJ McCarron.
You're right.
But he
why would you trade for him?
Well, he was requisite to needs in New England. I mean, he was not Jacoby's going to be your guy. Brissett's your guy. He was he wasn't going to be with Durake May there and Bazooka Joe. Somebody has to be in the on man out there. You're not going to always carry. Yes. Who's your practice squad quarterback in that scenario? Jacoby Brissett, Drake May, Joe Milton, and Mac Jones. Who's the guy who's running the scout team? So,
man,
to Jacksonville. I mean, just well, at least the weather's better.
Yeah,
that's about all. That's about all you can say. I think things are going to slowly be getting better. Evan Ingram's back, so Trevor Lawrence has his best shot, has his best target back. He had a really good game. I actually had him on my fantasy team, and I'm a little pissed I didn't start him last week because I was going to give him a week to kind of get back into the groove. Well, he got back into the groove pretty damn well. He had about 100 yards receiving. And Tank Bigsby's been running the ball pretty well. I actually picked Tank up.
Nice.
I actually picked Tank up on my.
I have Tank Bigsby
because I needed another running back.
And he's making Etienne look bad.
Yeah.
When you compare the two side by side. I can't believe Mac Jones. All right.
Excuse me.
It is what it is. Well, seems like a foregone conclusion. Yeah, we're gonna go.
The question is one of those situations. He's going to want the job. He's going to want the job.
It is.
I mean, his ownership's. I mean, they're building a new stadium, but his ownership's real. Does ownership have a real dedication to putting a winning product on the field? That would be my concern as a coach.
Yeah. You know, they did hire Urban Meyer at one point.
And we all see how that worked out. Mr. Warm and Fuzzy.
Yeah. Seems like it's a foregone conclusion that the New York Liberty are going to win their first WNBA championship.
It would be nice. I honestly, I kind of give a cursory side glance at the WNBA. I mean, I don't get in the basketball until the winter anyway. Because I'm a football guy. Let's be honest about it.
But did you see that Ionescu girl?
Ionescu, yeah. I saw the shot. That's impressive. She's a great player. I mean,
that was something else.
The level of play is definitely getting better, and it's going to start attracting more eyes. And hopefully, the more people watch it, they're actually going to see some parity.
More money.
you're going to see a little bit more parity on the pay scale for them, and they deserve it.
Yeah. With that, we can touch on some of last week's upsets. And one thing that really gave me hope about Bama, do you happen to remember the score that they won over South Carolina?
It's 2 points. It's like 25-27.
Oh, nail on the head, sir.
25
to 27.
27-25, yep.
Now, I wasn't particularly impressed by that.
Well, I thought South Carolina put up a good fight, but the Beamers are going to beamer. I mean, Sellers, that was his only interception at the game. I mean, I honestly,
Beamer ball.
I don't understand taking a shot at the end zone at that point. I mean, I don't remember what down it was. It was still third down. So you had enough to, and it was easy. It was a better idea to try to get 12 yards to get a first down, to get it in field goal range. I mean, 1 point victory is a 1 point victory. I mean, there's not much debate there. I mean, he got picked off at the 2 yard line. He got flushed out. I mean, you try to get the first down there.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. For real. So besides that, probably the biggest game, according to the AP poll, and maybe not SEC fans, but Oregon did defeat the Ohio State, resulting in an immediate reaction by the NCAA.
I mean,
it seemed to be terms that you think you would never hear.
Well, I mean, in the end, okay, yeah. Lanning took advantage of the rule. Okay. He knew the rule. He tried to take advantage of it. It honestly really didn't make a difference in the overall outcome because the quarterback still tries to run up the middle, runs the middle of the field, fourth down, and the clock runs out. So I mean, in the end, it all comes out in the wash. To me, it's no different than what Mike Vrabel did to Bill Belichick in the playoffs 4 or 5 years ago.
Thought about too.
When he kept getting delay penalties and running out the clock. I mean, he basically, and it was something that Belichick had done for years, and Vrabel knew about it because who did Vrabel learn from? He learned from Bill Belichick, and he used it against him, and it pissed Belichick off. But it's like, if you didn't want him to do it, why'd you show it to him in the first place? Seriously.
Very much so. Very much remind me of that. But like I said, it did strike up an immediate rule change by the NCAA, which is a once in a purple moon kind of situation.
Yep. I mean, it was one of those things that somebody was going to take advantage of it until they fixed the loophole. I mean, that's what happened.
Yeah. UGA only wins by 10 over Mississippi State.
Yeah, Mississippi State. I mean, they got points in garbage time.
Yeah. But
they hung in and they hung in and they hung in. It was an underwhelming offensive performance by the Dogs. By any standard. And they've got to get ready for what they got coming, because I mean,
who did you pick, by the way, in the Texas UGA?
I think I picked UGA to cover. I mean, I think Texas is probably good. I think Texas is probably going to win. Probably.
As do I.
But Georgia's had a rough week. They had the cornerstone of their 26 recruiting class dump them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But see, they've got Texas. They've got to go to Texas, then they go to Jacksonville, and then they go to Ole Miss, which, you know, they get dumped by Texas. They struggle with Florida. That if they get beat by Texas and they struggle against Florida, that turns Ole Miss into a trap game.
Yeah, I can see that.
I can definitely see that. Loathing for Lane notwithstanding.
Kiffin's going to be out.
That's a dangerous spot to have to go on the road there. Honestly, that's 3. I mean, that's 3 weeks away from home. I mean,
yeah.
Granted, you know, Florida is a neutral site. BS. It's an away game. If you're 6 hours from home, that's an away game, folks.
Yeah. But that was maybe the best news last weekend besides our own, that we beat Florida. LSU takes down Ole Miss, and the Corn Dogs just keep rolling. 29-26.
I wish I'd spent more time watching that game.
Yeah, I didn't watch a whole lot of it.
LSU is hard to play at home at night.
Yeah.
That's not a good place to play. And LSU and Ole Miss hate each other to begin with. Ole Miss doesn't hate LSU as much as they hate State, but they do not like each other. That's probably their second biggest rivalry game of the season.
Yeah.
And that's one game that Lane cannot afford to be losing, honestly. And And he's going to be losing a lot of the high profile transfers he gained. Walter Nolan's gone. Walter Nolan's gone to the NFL.
Yeah,
he ain't gonna hang around Oxford another year.
I
think he's late. I think he's a late first round pick, and I think if that's the grade he gets, that he's going to go.
Yeah.
Provided he can stay healthy. But that's a big if.
That is the big if. Stay healthy. Yeah, but there's no reason to stay there. There's final piece of news, final piece of our show. Cue the violins. We'll talk about how we're doing with our picks. So, like I said last week, they're kind of broken off 2 by 2. And representing our team, I am indeed in second place. So if I can just overcome these guys, we'll have a first place in there. Mitch and Ethan are first place with 25. Said second place, 24. Cole, 23. And Tater, same. We got our friends from the bias, Shelby and Jason. They've got 18. And you're right there with them, Dren, at 18. With 2 people below you, Sydney and the process page. Just a reminder to you folks. You can't come in here and talk shit if your team beats us. If you didn't show up the week before.
Yep.
Those are just the rules.
Yep.
I can't do anything about that.
They win. They're welcome to give us everything we got coming to us.
Oh yeah.
You'll get zero complaints from me on that score. Well, folks, it's 9:53, about my bedtime. If you so desire, feel free when this will be posted on YouTube here shortly. Feel free to subscribe, like us, give us a share, give us a comment, give us a shout. If you'd like to donate to us, there are Venmo handles. We will gladly take whatever contributions we can to grow our meager media empire to be able to buy better equipment to actually attend games. Things like that to get out to be able to multitask and network, because when that stuff happens, truly, we do spend a lot of time glad handing and shaking hands and trying to get people to watch our stuff. We do put ourselves out there quite a bit. So
we do. If you're in the Knoxville area, go visit our friend Max
Ramos, Pike Barbershop,
crawling across the bottom of the screen.
You can get an appointment with Max or his colleagues Elliot or Miles on the Booksy app. Download it. It's free. It's really, really handy. You can use it for more things than other just getting appointments or haircuts. If you must provide a condiment to your favorite food item, make sure it is the king of condiments, French's Yellow Mustard. Be sure to watch that French's Yellow Mustard down with the manna of the South, Milo's sweet tea. Go to Buc-ee's, eat your brisket and your beaver nuggets. And if you must hurl a golf ball at the head of one Lane Kiffin, please make sure that it is the number 1 ball in all of golf, Titleist. And on that note, we will leave it to the Vols to take care of the Bammers, and we will see y'all next week. God bless, good luck, and we will catch you on the flip side.
Peace, guys.
Go Vols.
Bid you adieu. Go big orange